So you're looking up the definition of BANT. BANT stands for budget, authority, need, and timing. BANT is a great concept, but especially when you have a really full funnel. If your funnel is not full, meaning you don't have a bunch of conversations going on a weekly basis, you're working in sales and you're not having sales meetings or sales calls at the frequency that your hair is on fire, and you would really like to have more, BANT doesn't really apply yet. Let me tell you why. Let's say that you are selling a product and your funnel is not full. You want to let people into that funnel who might buy in the future. So if you have a conversation and somebody isn't exhibiting BANT budget, for example, it may just be that they don't know what your product costs, or more importantly, what it is. So to have a budget, you first have to understand what a product is. And a lot of meetings where somebody's trying to figure out, does my prospect have BANT? The prospect doesn't even know what is being sold in the first place, right? So be really careful on that one. Authority is an interesting one because almost anyone at any company has the authority to recommend a product that, if purchased, would return a huge investment, right? So a lot of professional services or software or business tools, what you're really doing is selling the synergistic effect that results in money. I give you money for your software. It makes me faster, and thus I make way more money, right? That's the synergy, right? So most people have the authority or can quickly get the authority who might not be on the call to sign off if there is, an ROI case to be made. Need, again, a lot of calls might start with, well, there's not a known need, but that's really the issue is they don't understand the product and the problem that it solves, right? So be really careful there, right? And then timing, right? So the timing is something, if you don't have budget, authority, or need, it probably isn't the time to purchase, right? Or is it? If your product is great and it solves someone's problem, and if you can take their purchase and give them something back that's way more valuable, all of a sudden, it's time for that purchase, right? So in my experience, having purchased tons of software, professional services over the years, it's very clear to me when a junior salesperson is trying to run BANT in a conversation and they're asking me all these vetting questions. And my response is, hey, listen, I'm happy to answer your vetting questions, but I can't really give you, a good response on this until I understand what the product is or what the service is. So could you explain it to me? What is the value of what you sell and what is it? Right. And even if in that scenario, I said, hey, I really like what you're saying, it's not quite the time, unless that sales funnel is just over full, you would open a deal and continue to stay in touch with me, right? Because BANT is really about when you're drowning in potential work to close, how do you pick the low hanging fruit, right? If you're not drowning, you should continue to work any of those deals that look like they're going to close within a month or close within 3 months. So there are a lot of sales organizations that work on sort of almost a monthly quota, where if a deal doesn't look like it's going to close within a month, they just close out that CRM opportunity and leave it, and even leave a bad taste in that prospect's mouth. The reality is a lot of business deals, really the issue about them not closing is just a lack of understanding of what's being offered in the first place and the value of it. So you communicate those things, and somebody that might get disqualified by a junior salesperson who's trying to run BANT actually might have the authority to buy it that same week, right? It's a communications issue and a failure to communicate the value, right? Because if your product is good and there's a synergy, pretty much any product, the buyer of it would have BANT. So I hope that makes sense.